Good evening, Iowa. Meteorologist Luis Gonzalez here. Here I have your travel forecast for all of the country, and really, currently we do not have much impactful weather going on throughout the country. The most notably, we do have some snowfall expected, between Friday afternoon and Saturday evening, mainly in states of, Nebraska and Kansas, and a little bit in Missouri and Iowa. That will push on into the east and cause some considerable accumulation in states like Nebraska and Kansas. But for now, the temperatures are mild in central Iowa. It is 50 degrees with no cloud cover whatsoever in central Iowa. It is pretty comfortable. Look at those temperatures in central Iowa, between mid 40s and lower 50s. It's going to feel like a nice crisp fall day outside right now, I would say. And a little cooler, however, on the eastern part of the state, almost 30 degrees in Dubuque, but that will change as we move along throughout the week. The wind speeds are not so bad. Looks like we have 16 miles an hour in Des Moines. Might add to the, the wind chill a little bit, but not considerably. It's not going to feel too cold outside right about now, folks. However, our low temperature tonight, that's a different story. We have a low of 29 degrees. It's, pretty much below freezing throughout all of the state. So that's with a low pressure system moving in, cold front moving in. But as far as Thanksgiving goes, we do have a high of 42 degrees in Des Moines, really between mid 30s and lower 40s throughout most of the state. So it'll be a little bit chilly than we experienced in the past few days, and especially the day after Thanksgiving moving on into Friday. I mean, the highs for Friday are barely going to break out of freezing in just a few parts of the state, mainly south. But other than that, it's going to stay below freezing in most of the state. So it's going to be pretty chilly that day for sure. Not much different for Saturday either. Temperatures mainly in the mid 30s. Still going to be chilly. That cold will hang around for a few days after Thanksgiving, that's for sure. As far as the entirety of the Midwest goes, we do have mild temperatures, especially in the states like Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri. A little colder in the northern part, but that is expected to change in our region with a cold front that will be moving in tonight, Wednesday evening, and that will affect our temperatures tomorrow for Thanksgiving, leading on to a few days after that. So we see that tonight the temperatures are going to drop down from current temperature 50 to all the way down to 29 degrees, and that's from the introduction of our cold front moving in. And those temperatures are just going to stay down. Tomorrow is expected to be a little chilly for Thanksgiving, and it will be mostly cloudy conditions throughout most of the state. And I really think that these clouds are going to hang out for probably about 48 hours at least after Thanksgiving, and really going to keep the temperatures down those few days after Thanksgiving, that's for sure. As far as the snow that is expected, these might impact travel conditions, especially if you are headed out into the western part of the country, in the Rockies. Mainly we have possibly several inches of snow expected in most of Kansas, and that's going to be the state where it's going to feel the blunt of the snowstorm, that's for sure. However, up here where we live in central Iowa, we're expecting just minor accumulations, at most 2 inches, but really not so much expected whatsoever in terms of accumulations, and real travel impacts are expected. Moving on to tonight, our low is 29 degrees, and it is going to be mainly clear. And for tomorrow, Thanksgiving, our high will be around 42 degrees in Des Moines. Will be mostly cloudy. A little chilly, but it's really not that bad. It's better than, minus 20. Moving on to our 10-day forecast sponsored by Holt Hunt Plumbing and Heating, we see that most notably we do have that snowfall expected Saturday night moving into Sunday morning, and that cold is going to stick after Thanksgiving moving on into Sunday. But after that, we will return to some more seasonable temperatures. Good.